but you know what? Worth it. Yeah. What do you put like, are you a sour cream guy on your quesadilla? Oh yeah. Dude, guacamole is one of those things, it's like hit or miss. It's either really good or really bad. You know what I mean? 100%, 100%. All right, I'm letting people get in here, guys. We're getting this started. 1:35, he's coming on the stage. I literally just looked at my clock and it's like 127, maybe 126. So we're gonna get it going. We're gonna get it going. Andrew, I want your review on the cookie. Take a bite. I want your review. I want you to review the cookie. Andrew's looking at me so crazy. I want you to review the cookie. Like, how does it? Yeah. Okay, yes. Are you in Georgia Tech? From Atlanta. I think you're like 50% of the way there. You should yeah, it's already there. Okay, here we go. Oh, I would have eaten that part. Oh, that's really good to know that there's stickers on the cookies. Take the stickers off the cookie before you eat them. All right, let's go. Okay, shortbread. Okay. Yeah. Sweet to like is it like it's like a pound cake almost or shortbread. Yeah, I like that. Nothing like carbs in the middle of the day, you know. Yeah, that's not. Dude. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Keto is not happening this weekend. No, I tried to fast a couple days before this, and I realized, like, I'm going to show up there, like, I can't do it. Guys, if you're not in the room and you can hear me outside, grab a seat. This is what you're not going to want to miss. GWORLD Vision Presentation. That's hard to say in this, isn't it? GWORLD Vision Presentation is happening in a minute. More like 6, but pull up. What are we doing? Dude, all right. What if I have 2 mics? Pizza's almost done? Like, out? That pizza will make you late. Right? I will skip, like, if I had, like, a job interview, I would be like, guys, I got 3 pieces left. You gotta wait. What do you want from me? Shit. You know what I mean? I got, my favorite toppings on a pizza are weird. So I like ricotta cheese, basil, and garlic. And maybe onions, but it can be overwhelming. Ricotta on pizza is so slept on. Oh, ricotta's like, I think isn't ricotta what they put in cannolis? I think it is. It's just ricotta and chocolate chips. Yeah? Classic. Like a cup of ricotta and chocolate chips. Am I right? Is that what they put in cannolis? What's the real thing? Yeah, they are right. It's not just like, right, they don't just like scoop ricotta out of a container and put it in like bread, right? Yeah. That'd be so stupid, right? I put sugar in it. Yeah. All right, we got people coming in, guys. Find a seat if you want to listen to the GWORLD Vision. We got the guard in the building. He's going to talk about the world, the GWORLD, what they're building. If you want to build video games, if you want to build in this space, if you make music and you want a platform to be able to create within this space, this is the presentation for you. GWORLD Vision is happening in 4 whole minutes. I want to like check my phone because like I can read a watch. Trust me. Okay, so it's 2 minutes. You see what I'm saying? Like my watch is a little off, dude. Doc Theta said he's gonna buy me a Rolex so it keeps proper time, right? He said no. Rolex so it keeps proper time, right? He said no. No, I'm not gonna do that. All right, guys. 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. We're gonna get this thing going. Get in here. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. You won't want to miss. Isn't that right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. 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 All right. Here we go. Here we go. 1 minute. Find a seat. Find a seat. Yeah. The cameramen are coming in. Yes, sir. Listen, we got an amazing camera crew filming this whole scene. Yeah. The cameramen are coming in. Yes, sir. Listen, we got an amazing camera crew filming this whole on camera. Just say yes. Because they're working hard, just like all of us are, to put this on together, and they're capturing this conference for your viewing pleasure, and so we couldn't have better. Thank you guys so much. They're capturing this conference for your viewing pleasure, and so we couldn't have better. Time, real quick. 1 minute. 1 minute. All right. Before we get Zagard on the stage, who built his first computer at 9, has had a career in many different industries. I mean, finding someone with experience that spans industry only gives perspective when building in a space that is so new, right? You need to pull from different industries, from different ideas and perspectives to have a valuable voice. It was different industries from different ideas and perspectives to have about what he's building, share the timeline for the community. Because that's what we all want to know, right? We want to know what's next, what's happening now, what's next, what's in the future. I think that next is the future. It's redundant. So, before we get him on stage, we got a video that we're going to show. So, we're going to get the video, then Zagard's going to come on stage. Enjoy the video.
We're building your future on Theta. Piece by
then Zagard's going to come on stage. Enjoy the video.
We're building your future on. You'll have the opportunity to create your G-Twin and secure a spot on the very first ship leaving for G-World.
Welcome, everyone. I'm excited. I'm so excited for this weekend. You know, we really are all building this experience together. It's amazing. If you ask me and some of the OGs here, this is the 3rd annual, but for all intents and purposes, it is the first. And I think of many to come. It's great to see it getting bigger every year. It really is something very, very important to make sure that we all have the communication that I've been seeing around, that I've been having with everyone, board with all that, with the timeline and what ends up on the timeline, what gets edited from the timeline. Really, it really is nice to think back from where we started at 2018 and all the development that went on, testnet and mainnets launching, edge nodes, to get all the way to where, as you probably all are aware, at gpool.io, our dashboard with the projects that we are supporting with staking listed there. What you really see here today is we always are asking, what does this community need? What does our community need? That's where Gpool was birthed from. What was going to be the need? Saw quite early on that pooling was going to need to be built in a trusted way. some projects have ran where they're pooling out of Discord, and that's beautiful, the camaraderie that can come out of that, but we wanted to make sure that in a non-custodial fashion, there was going to be pooling. And those early days of trudging through reverse engineering and coming up with how we were going to do that with JE and so on, very memorable and so exciting that we're still here, we're still providing everything for everyone, and even more now, as you'll see, we haven't stopped asking, what does the community need? And when you take a look at T-Fuel and edge nodes, and you think, at some point here, edge storage is going to get up and rolling, and me and Wes Levitt were talking about it yesterday, edge storage, and some of our vision that we have, you'll see it in here, but I think it's going to be quite exciting, and that's something that I don't know that we've conveyed completely, but when we designed our edge nodes, we wanted to make sure it had enough space for edge storage. So we needed to make sure that we had a minimum of 65 terabytes per edge node. It's going to be needed. So this wasn't just spin these up and let's see where it goes. We built it for how it's going to be needed. And as everybody, well, maybe not everyone knows, one of our other drivers with the edge nodes is to make sure that we have GPUs ready for what's coming, and AI is a big driver, and you'll see that we really are thinking through AI in a logistics sense versus just how we're going to interact with it with the species. How do we accomplish the interaction versus just how do we sustain it? So that is transfer value and not have to trust the individual. You're trusting the protocol. Very important. I wanted to make sure that that LP had its utility, and the utility of rebasing is so imperative. When you take a look at T-bill, the TNT20 token, and you take a look at the utility of it and the rebasing function and how imperative it is, it really fit into how we were building everything at the time, and still is. And we look at it as a great success, and we're very happy with how the LP has looked through IL and the coverage. We also want to make sure that everyone understands the purpose of it is for our simulation virtual reality. I'll get a bit more into that in the future slides. But, you know, when you take a look and you say, okay, LPs are really needed, and then you sit there and you say, this IL, you know, how are we going to take a look at this IL and, you know, how are we going to end up, how do we mitigate this? It's a need, we need it, the community is going to need it, and we set this up and we say, well, I think this will work, let's run some models, let's see how it all pans out. And, you know, when you look at G-Note as the IL coverage, it's pretty stark that we could have, and you'll see it a bit further, could have been 5 tokens, but we wanted to make sure that that value was still reserved for that IL coverage. It was important for us to do. We also brought together, which was really exciting, the first utility-based NFT, and how fun! I just, it was so fun. We had it all planned out a little bit differently, but the birth from community felt better and still fit into our models. So, you know, issuing the Lurker NFT, that was so fun. Sitting at the computer, telling everybody what we were going to issue, and knowing no one knew what the heck I was talking about, but they're like, "Well, it's free, I'll take it." So, you know, I went to go hit enter on the message, and I turned back and I said, I wonder if they're not going to even know what I'm even talking about. But, you know, and then, you know, the hodler came out, and what an exciting time. All the money we raised for charity. It was a great year. We did a lot of good. Even the hats that we purchased is a veteran-owned company, and they donate meals. So, you know, I'm a big fan of helping as we move up, bring everyone else with us. Advance the next slide, please. So, Gino has mentioned IL coverage and so much more. This is a brief overview. There is so much more to all of these slides. When you look at Gino, you see that we have a lowercase g and a capital note. Think of it as it has a lot of different use cases. Potentially, if there was an asset that we had issued and it's a let's say it's G Gold or something like that, and it has a lowercase g to it, we have that pathway to take. It also has a musical aspect to it as well, which we'll get to in a little bit. But it was really exciting once all of the pieces were in place, after all the models, to finally see the first vote. That was just absolutely amazing. It's going to be fun to watch the next vote. I think it's more than just, you know, I think it's more than checking boxes. I've seen a lot of proposal votes that I haven't seen a lot of contention yet in this space. So it was quite refreshing to see some of the discussions going on. I look forward to all the rest of the discussions, heated and all the rest of the others, you know, on some of these topics. So there was a lot of individuals in my DMs in public that asked for me to weigh in, and it wasn't my time to weigh in. I wanted to make sure that we reaffirmed that this is all of our product. And as I've said in chat before, at some point there will be a vote on if our team continues on to provide this for everyone, or if we hand over custodianship. I didn't think we needed to vote this year, so I didn't put it in there. We need to make sure that it can run one, and if we ever do have someone better suited for the role, So that is a driving goal. Part of that is the oracles and getting the oracles into the community's hands. It's imperative, obviously, that this is RAND distributed. It can sustain without our hands on the keyboards at all times. So we have our oracles, we run our oracles, they're chugging along, they're arguing with each other all day on blockchain and what happened on the blockchain. And we're excited to finally turn that over here to the community, distribute it. It's the reward mechanism that's able to pay the LP staking rewards without you having to lock your capital. It's safety, a lot of different reasons of why we made sure that things were in an automated sense and you could still hold possession. So we know, no spoiler alerts, because I think everyone saw the numbers. There wasn't any big diversion in the audit that we ran in the last vote. We will be publishing, working on the article. We'll be publishing the audited results and then how we progress forward for the next vote that's coming here in a week and a half, 2 weeks. Time moves at different speeds depending on what house I'm at. Sorry. So with that, we know that 1.2 is going to be taken to 1.1 and further expound on, and we're all going to collectively decide how NFTs look past your 1 year mark. And basically, vote on how you're rewarded past that point. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of topics of discussion where it's, well, I can just change my wallet over and I'll just move to the next one if this doesn't result in me getting the, if I have to reset, basically. And, I just want to caution, make sure that you understand your IL exposure and so on if you are going to take advantage of that pathway, or if you're planning on taking advantage of that pathway as how you vote, because moving around wallets can change what your IL looks like. So just keep that in mind when you're running through the scenarios and how you feel you want to vote. The other one is the high water mark. This one is an important one, and I really want to make sure that everyone does understand that this is an important one for all of us to decide. It really is. We had shown you your high water mark briefly, and then we pulled it because we wanted to make sure that it was easier to digest. There's a bit of complexity underneath with you understanding some of the inner workings of how our smart contract works for T-bill. We, as everyone can see, UX, user experience, is hugely important to us. We're not bringing the normies without a congruent, easy to use interface as well as protocol. So the high water mark will be visible on your dashboard because it's important for you to see these numbers when you cast your vote. You need to know what your high water mark is and what interacts with your high water mark, where you sit on the spectrum. So what will be in our hands that day will be the decision of, does extra IL stay at 90%, and does current IL stay at 0%? Meaning, does somebody that potentially has taken all of their capital out of the LP still get coverage? It's an important question. There was a lot of reaching out to me, and the decision was to make sure that IL fit a little bit more into the already mechanisms of the LP, so that's why we bumped it to the 180 days, but also needed to hear from everyone what they felt about it. There are some that feel that if they have no more interest in the LP, I've purchased the governance token. I'd like it to go to everybody that wants to continue on chugging along. And like I said, the reason we issue governance token is because if somebody incurred an IL event, who better to ask, should we change anything? And that's, yes, it's an airdrop, but at the same time, it's also your review or your opinion or what your thoughts are, both sides. So, keep that in mind. That's originally why we chose the 0% as well, because you can learn a lot from people that potentially really sit and think it over. And if you find that people, if they have maybe a negative experience or if they're not happy with something, they tend to put more brain power behind the situation. So that was why it was imperative to drop the governance token as the IL offset. Next slide. Okay, Friday 50. It's been a lot of fun so far. I mean, it's cool. This one was a fun one to develop and think through and work on. It really is fun, engaging. I can't wait to see where it ends up. Some Friday. It's going to definitely be a fun Friday. So it's a proof of burn event that happens weekly. For those who don't or might not be familiar with it, basically how it works is that you go in and you burn T-bill, and the act of burning T-bill issues you a NFT. Based on that NFT, you're randomly put into order, and everybody, for every burn, a unit of burn is 10 T-bill, gets an NFT, and every NFT gets a time slot on all 10 lists. And basically what ends up happening is, depending on where you're at on the list, every 10 minutes, if that proof of burn reward hasn't been claimed, it moves on to the next individual down the list. Really something interesting to watch. If you don't understand what I'm explaining up here, and take a watch on it, some Friday, sit back, enjoy it, and just see how it works. Please, not as a cliche, but please burn responsibly. We wanted to make sure that everyone understands email doesn't reverse it. So if we get one of those emails, please burn responsibly. This is you doing work for us. So you're doing work for the project. You're doing work for everyone in the community. And when you do that work, such as running like a Guardian node, when you do that work, there's a reward to be had. The reward is just randomly selected. So it's work. It's fun, but at the same time, just make sure that you understand the responsibility of it. And yes, seeing the community, and everyone was like, well, can we have more than just one day? Yes, 3 days were planned. So I won't talk too much on the Monday and the Wednesday 50, but it will involve, instead of T-bill, LP tokens as burning, as well as the reward mechanism. So the Friday 50 burns tokens out of supply. The Monday and Wednesday burn traps capital in the liquidity pool where we need to trade capital through. I don't want to make it sound like, it's trapped forever, because it's there to be used. It's just the ownership of it is being burnt, which can be very impactful. We're working on a few reward models, and I'll be honest, we've designed a few things to be voted on with the governance token. This one will probably go to a vote. It might be the first one that you see that doesn't have a direct correlation on issuing of rewards. If you go and look at what we've done so far, issuing rewards was something being voted on. This is just being voted on something as we'd like your insight, we'd like your opinion on this. It's not an issuing, it is a distribution. So, with that being said, we're running the model just like we do for Friday 50, where it's 10 slots and you continue on 10 minutes. But we're also running an interesting model right now. I decided to bring it up because I don't know if it does get taken to a vote, but where it's at, it's pretty cool. So, if you look at Friday 50, what ends up happening there is you burn 50%. The other 50% goes into the reward distribution, and from there, we pick 10 slots, 10% each slot. Well, 10% in each slot also can equate that you have 50 burnt, your other 50, what the other 50 can do is 50% of the participants can get back their money. Or you can do 25%, double their money, or 12.5, so on and so on. So what we're toying with is potentially having it as 25% double. So yes, before all the Twitter calculators get going out there and everything like that, the math is there. It's just taking 100%, moving it to 50%, and then into 25%. So I know, sounding like how can you double your money in a day? Sounds magical, but it's the math is there. I probably will get a little image that I can keep posting in Discord that explains that. So it's exciting, it's cool, it's an interesting thing. As you can tell, we try to get real interesting with how we structure things. So Cryptfelt feels that one sometimes with emails and the guides. So yeah. Next slide. All right. So what we feel is one of our more important tasks this year, the GTX browser and the GTX wallet. This is important. We feel this is extremely important to the space. So, you have unstoppable domains in this space, and you have browsers and you have wallets. Okay, great. What we also have is we have a distributed storage network. The edge nodes. Well, people are going to want to save files and be able to, in an easy sense, navigate the edge network. We envision something like Google Drive, where our browser, because we have open sourced it and let the community work with it in beta, and we custodian that code base for the meanwhile. We will have certain liberties that we can take, where we don't have to go and ask Chrome, please, we make sure that you make a proper pointer to the edge storage website. The most important thing is that we need to make sure that this is stored on the edge network. So we need a distributed browser. We need to distribute this browser so that people can download the browser and then browse the distributed network. It's imperative. With that also comes the wallet. I could talk a long time about the wallet as well. It's crucial. There's a lot of just things that I feel like should have already been there. Why aren't we pushing out invoices yet? Venmo does it, why are we still trying to guess if that wallet was entered in properly? Just push the invoice so that you can then pay it. We want to have two different levels of that, where you push the invoice and you can alter the amount that you want to send somebody. So if somebody says, oh, hey, listen, you send me an invoice for $10. You're like, well, you know what? It was actually closer to $12, and you just change it and send it to them. And then we're working on certified invoices where they're signed, not be able to be altered. So it's just a taste. There's messaging and so on and so forth that we're trying to build into it. Something that maybe a meta chain will help with. We haven't completely explored the adaptability yet, but something in the sense of taking a message and making it non-deliverable, meaning that it goes into something that's called the mempool. The mempool is where these transactions go before they're taken on and finalized. So you can broadcast the message into the mempool, set it to self-destruct, and that's what time it comes out of the mempool. And you don't have a recipient on it. You just have people that can access it with the private key. So basically what you're doing is you're sending an untraced, self-destructive message into the mempool with no destination, or no destination. Anyways, things like that we're working on to make sure that they're incorporated in the wallet. You know, how many times have you, well, maybe it doesn't occur to everyone in this room, but when you get a little bit more into NFTs and you find someone that has one that you're desiring, there's no means to communicate with them. There's no means to ask them, hey, would you be interested? You know, you can't just, no. It comes with great responsibility because then there's spam. We all loved watching Prodigy send emails. Now, we don't even want to open the box. So there needs to be toggle switches, there needs to be guardrails, but at the same time, you get to decide when you're open to offers, basically, in that kind of a format, but it can be used for just so many more things. Next slide. All right, GWORLD. This is our vision. This is what's on our vision board. This is what we want to deliver. We're looking to create a game development studio. We have it partially built. You can visit our booth, touch the tablets, go through the debugging, and see the game that was built. I'm not imagining everybody understands debugging. It's fine. Just understand that we want to make sure that GWORLD is there for everyone that's creative. We want to usher in a generation that is their own boss. It's empowering, it's important, and at the same extent, it ripples to every place in the world. It's great to bank the unbanked, as we've all heard in this space, but it's also great to have as much creativity in this world as you can have. It's so breathtaking when you see something like YouTube that gives people the outlet to create. It's all of our experience. So we'll get into the arcade here as well in a little bit. G-Twin wearable NFT studio. Same thing. We have artists up there that can make really cool looking digital wearables for our G-Twins, for our avatars. So we want them to work on it. We're only as good as we are back here. It's going to take all of you and everyone else to come to make this something that's going to be desirable. I think a lot of people lose sight of just how powerful it can be to create together. And that's really our mantra for the whole experience, is that we're all collectively building an experience. Think about it this way. You know, it's got to be like the internet. It's not video game number one, and you know that's where we're sitting there. We can't do a G World 2.0. You all have ownership in G World 1.0, and you don't want to put a portal in front of the property that you own in G World so somebody can keep jumping through it to go to the cool new thing. So it's a major task. How do you make something nostalgic and adaptive at the same time? Well, we have a great example. It's called the internet. It's nostalgic and adaptive at the same time. So we set out to make sure that that was something that we could attempt to deliver, is something that is nostalgic and adaptive. I think that's what will stand the time, and it's what we all, I think, deserve. You know, you have a record spinning right now, and AI is assisting with making that music. It's really quite something. I don't know if everyone's ever heard how AI puts it together, but our research, it's really quite unique. It's awesome. It's cool. And so basically what you'll have is you have a record spinning. You'll have another record spinning labeled as A, another one labeled as B, and one that's a little wobbly as C. Now, this isn't 100%. I'm just letting you know where we're at with it at this point. And what would end up happening is you sample A, you sample B, and you're not allowed to sample C. And you vote on which way you would like this music to fork and what genre and beat and such. While the AI is using the library that the community has uploaded, and reward mechanisms, so on and so forth. So you have a community-steered radio station where you might say, I like day 14, chapter 3. We're trying to make sure that we store this to where, almost like a adult playing piano. It's a sheet of paper that runs through, so that we can maximize the space. It would re-synthesize the chart as it goes through instead of having to save the whole file. Anyhow, we're hoping to get that across the finish line as well. Then the story and movie creation studio. I think this is going to be really awesome. Here's the thing. All of these that we're talking about here, we're trying to make sure that they are interactive with AI, the current AI, and then adapt for how it goes. I think it would be really awesome to have a story or a movie told by AI. We're in a virtual experience. We get to learn from AI. They get to write the story, the movie, the song, and then collaborative community land development. This is a cool one. We're trying to get it to 100%, but it's really, it's there. Enough for me to mention it. But think of, well, I'll touch maybe back on it. The next slide. So you need to know this before that. So sorry about the misorganization of that. But so metaverse, right? Term used all the time. Is it going to be a term that's going to sound like someone saying I'm surfing the web, and it's changed, you know, BlackBerry me, you know, oh, send me, you know. So what we really wanted to define was what genre was G-World. G-World is a simulation virtual reality. So what does that mean, simulation virtual reality? So I'm not sure if you've gotten a chance to read the pamphlet, but basically, G-World is the 7th candidate planet that we have discovered that we are going to send a simulated voyage to so that we can start terraforming the planet to see if it's viable for us to really make the journey. And you can experience it in VR over at the booth. It's just a quick little snippet of what we're building. building back here. So, with that being said, it's a simulation virtual reality. It's going to have a very tight narrative. It's going to stick to the simulation and very intently. We also have an augmented reality app where you're going to go around and collect seeds. So while you're here in this physical earth, almost like Pokemon Go, you're going to be able to go collect seeds, maybe a farmer's market, potentially a museum, all geolocated, and you're going to walk through and you're going to collect seeds to take on the voyage to help terraform the candidate planet. So that whole experience is important to us. It's important because we don't want to have people just get lost in the virtual world. You need to keep in mind we're in the physical world too. So with that, we're also going to work on special locations in GWORLD where you're potentially able to take as many steps with your G-Twin as you took throughout the day at work or throughout your daily routine. It's going to be more for fun than anything because we know that people are going to duct tape this to their dog and throw the ball for it. So it's just the way crypto is. It's like water. They will find it. It levels up. So I think that's going to be really, really exciting. So the thing is, we have a design studio for games, and we want to collaborate with everybody. But we've got a tight narrative here. We've got a whole experience. So, next slide, please. So, GR glass. Yes, I know. Virtual reality is already still new to a lot of people, but your G-Twin will have virtual reality as well, and we call it GR instead of VR. So, a bit of inception here, where we're not going to break the narrative and we're not going to cut away from the simulation. We are going to let the developers create things that might not even fit in so that your G-Twin has things to occupy their time, their day. Yep, we've got GR.glass. You can go to it now to see it coming soon. So galactic communication. In the simulation, galactic communication. So let's say that you have your buddy, he's on a voyage, and he's 5 days into the voyage, and you're like, hey, I'd really like to chat with you or play a game with you. In their liquor pod, they'll have a glass, and you will be able to go on our website and have a glass, and you'll be able to peer into their bunk, and they'll be able to have you as a guest. So think of it just as a way to communicate with the G-Twin while they're on the simulation and traveling to GWORLD. I know it's a bit deep, but I think it's going to be really, really cool, really exciting. And then next slide. And then G Academy. This is, I feel, going to be extremely important. We have a virtual world, and we need a lot of creators. We need people that are verified as being the creator of the item. So we need to make sure that we can embed certificates or licenses. We need to make sure we can revoke them. So it's really, really imperative that we have the education suite. And we're working with people right now to make sure that we can expand that out. Okay. Yeah, so basically, what we're working with here is the ability to basically with the GWORLD Academy, okay, with the G Academy, basically Basically, what we're going to do here, I'm sorry, I was thinking of something else that I wanted to add into this. So basically what we're going to do here is make sure that everyone has the education, interact with what we're doing, and, you know, really learn together. This isn't just about GWORLD. This is about all of crypto, right? This is about learning crypto space. This is a comfortable environment to learn in. This is where we end up, you know, we want to make a friendly place to learn about crypto, is what I'm trying to convey. I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood this is more of like a gift like the browser, where we're going to talk about all sorts of projects and teach people how to interact with all the projects, basically.
Chairs on here. We got to get and you know, get everything situated. So just give us a second to get these chairs on the stage. We got John Heder. We got the guys in Verified Labs. We got Matt and Justin and Billy. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be high energy. This one's going to get a little wild. You know what time it is. It's Thetacon time. I'm going to Thetacon hat. I got this hat earlier than Thetacon. I love it. It's really, really cool. And I got the Verified Labs one too, but I got the Thetacon one. The Verified Labs hat too. And you know what I talked about earlier. Like, this is the inaugural Thetacon. You're right, and you're right as well. Having the space in these panels and stuff to ask questions